Food waste in the United States. Do standardized expiration date labels help address the issue of household waste? A Kirka presentation by Sarah Torman. In the United States, 60% of food that is wasted is solely on the fact that consumers are confused by food labels and end up throwing away the product before the product has actually expired, according to a documentary called Just Eat It, A Food Waste Story by Jenny Rustemeyer and Grant Baldwin. Currently, food labels are very inconsistent in the United States, and the only product that is required to have a label on it by the FDA is infant formula. Products have many different food labels, including best by, sell by, use by, enjoy by, and so on, which causes many consumers to be confused as to when they should actually throw away their food. Therefore, the purpose of this project is to determine if a standardized food label for households can help reduce waste at the household level. Having a standardized label would mean including a label on products that are meant for specifically consumers that are not only easy to read and understand, but also clearly differentiates quality from safety. This project utilizes Vensim Simulation Software to demonstrate a basic flow of food waste. At each stage of the model, food is either being thrown away or saved based on the percentages shown. The household level, which can be seen in Figure 1, clearly shows the biggest percentage of food waste at 43%. Since households have the biggest percentage of waste, this project looks to implement a policy that aims to reduce food at the household level. In the model, it is assumed that a meal is made up of 4 components: fruits and vegetables, proteins, carbs, and dairy. Using the average best by date for each of these products, the model determines if the policy helps to reduce food waste. When the policy is turned off, a random variable is generated to reflect consumer behavior in order to determine if the consumer uses the product before the expiration date. If the consumer does use the product before the expiration date, then the meal is consumed. If the consumer does not see the label, the consumer wastes the food and it is then added to food waste. When the label is on, it is assumed that the households will always see the label and therefore use the product prior to expiration. As seen in Figure 4, the blue curve represents the food waste that is in absence of the standardized label, whereas the red curve measures food waste as a result of the standardized policy. It can be seen in this figure that when the label is on, the policy causes a smoothing effect, resulting in less erratic household behavior. This shows that the policy does limit food waste by resulting from expiration date confusion. In addition to household waste, this model also depicts the overall food waste shown in Figure 5. As seen in the graph, the policy does to some extent reduce total food waste in the model. Numerically, Figure 3 shows that when the label is on, food waste is reduced by 5 billion pounds, for example, in week 40. This model shows that a standardized label does successfully help to reduce food waste at the household level. However, additional policies should be investigated to successfully reduce waste throughout the supply chain. This model does have 3 assumptions. The first assumption is that when the label is turned on, the households will always see the label and use products prior to expiration. The second assumption is that when the label is turned off, a random variable is then generated to determine if the consumer will use the product prior to the expiration date. The third assumption is that a meal is made up of 4 components: fruits and vegetables, dairy, protein, and carbs. Food waste is a major problem in the United States and can lead to more problematic issues other than just food waste, as we talked about before. Food waste also contributes to greenhouse gases, as studies have shown. According to Rubicon, if food waste was a country, it would be the 3rd largest emitter of greenhouse gas emissions in the world, following the United States and China. In addition, on average, 1 pound of food is wasted by 1 person per day, while it is estimated that by 2022, 50 million people will have food insecurity. According to Feeding America, if Americans cut food waste by 15%, 25 million more Americans could be fed every year. Therefore, as these statistics show, food waste is continuing to worsen each year, and it's essential to eliminate food waste in order to protect our environment and help Americans who are currently suffering from food insecurity.